Hello, hello. Okay. Okay, well, I think that's we have that's a nice number of people to get started, yeah. So
Yes,
thank you everybody. Welcome to the engine of value creation Zoom. Okay, this is a place for all of us to practice sharing the knowledge and create value for other people. We today we have a special guest, Miss Dinh, who is a recent graduate of the Mentor with KO6. She was also the head of her family in Mentor House. I still remember her topic is the principle of light. So Miss Hoa has taken the command of the principle of light, and also, I want to acknowledge Ms. Hardin for during her Mentor 6 education studying. She got up in the morning at 4 a.m. to exercise and do the internal body transformation along with Ron and myself. Um, while people in Vietnam get up in the morning, early in the morning, to do calligraphy and then join the mentor class. People in the overseas in the United States and Canada, like Chị Hoa, they got up in the morning and exercise. And they were able to maintain that for a very long time. So I commend Ms. Hoa for her studiousness, her perseverance, and her love of the knowledge, as well as the love of helping and sharing with other people. So without further ado, I would like to hand over the microphone and the Zoom to Ms. Hoa Dinh.
thank you very much, Frank, for all the kind words. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you very much for your presence here. Um, I am very honored to have an opportunity to be here with you to share the root of education and knowledge. As I said, as Frank said, my name is Hoa Ding, and I'm very grateful for your family support so you can be here on Zoom with us. And your baby, anh Ngọc, Ngọc Linh, how old is your baby?
Yeah. Good morning, good evening, every auntie and uncle. I'm just 5 months years old, half years
Hello.
old.
Oh wow, so cute baby. Good. I parents must good take care of good. Mom must have very good. You guys do really good job for a really cute baby.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So yes, I'm very grateful for your family support, so you can be here with us in the Zoom, and I'm very grateful for the root of education, and very grateful for the our masters and teachers teaching and sharing to us about the this root of education, so we can live with it. We use it to educate our children. We use it for the root of education for our finance and doing business, and with the awareness for people around us. So um, our topic, our lives evolve around natural laws and principles. Um, it is my honor for me to share with you one of a very important principle um, that is helping and had helped many of us to live life in a more simple way. And it is called the principle of light. Just want to go to share my screen. everybody can see with the
Perfect.
my screen. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Mhm.
So before I start, this principle, I like to share an example that present about our life, represent about life. So if it's convenient, please join me to draw a boat.
Behind on your own screen, can you click change camera so that it'll show you? Right now it's showing the share screen on both on the share as well as on the on we don't see your face basically.
I forgot. Thank you. Thanks for reminding.
There you go.
All right, and then my screen. So we can't on. Yeah, thank you. I forgot step number 3. So if you can, join me to draw. This is a boat. And we have a person. Driving the boat. And so when we have a boat, there is a current. And this represents current. And for a person who's going to go from point A to point B, and this is represent a flow. And we call this current. So as I said, this boat represent our life. When we have the flow, our life go flow. Oh, and a little bit slippery. Our life is more simple when we allow our life to go with the flow. And then the other one is if we were to go against I spelled against wrong again. Against. I think that's what it spells like.
The I, you only need one I. You
Only
don't
one
you will write before you will write it first and then you added the I.
again, like this.
And AIN
Oh, right.
ST.
Okay. Can I just cross this one out and then I'm going to put it on a side.
Yeah,
Thank you. This is very AI against
Oops. Now,
Wrong?
AG, so AG A
A
I N.
N S, right?
A G
Let me type it
A
in.
I N.
There
S
you go. It's
T,
in the
right?
chat. I
Oh,
typed it in
there's
the
only
chat.
ST, right?
Yeah.
So I got it right.
Exactly. You did it
Oh,
good.
so you have a
Okay.
double I.
All right. Again, against. Thank
Oh,
you. I'm gonna take the third time to get it right. So this one is we call universal principles and natural law. Universal principles and natural laws. So we can imagine, excuse me, when there's a boat and a person is rowing the boat, and then if this person would just go with the flow, with the current, the person can do minimal effort, then this person can get from A to B with the minimal effort and um, and simple, and to get to from point A to point B. Now, with the person who is go against the current, which is this way, it's going to take a lot of effort to get from point A to point B. And so this is to represent our life when we allow it to go with the flow. Life is more simple and with less effort. Thank you for chị Nguyễn Vân joining the Zoom with us. So my next, so that's it, to share with you the how it's important to allow ourselves alive to go with the flow in order to have a simple and effortless for our life to follow the universe universal principles and natural laws. That's just to represent how our life can be. So my next diagram would be I would like to invite you to draw a rectangle. This is the next thing is I'm going to share with you about in a dark room. Yeah, biết ơn. Thank you, chị Vân. I would like you to draw with me a dark room. I used some cream this morning and my hand is a little bit slippery with the pen. Anyway, so right now I will share with you the principle of light is the main topic today, how it's going to help with us to understanding the principle of light in our day-to-day lives for the on the human on the consciousness So let me write. So please, I invite you to draw a rectangle. And this is called principle of light. So, and this rectangle represent a dark room. So when we in a dark room, this is an example on the worldly, on a science corner is, can anyone in the audience help me to say when you're in a dark room, how can you light up in a dark room?
Put on a candle.
Put
Light
on
a
a
candle.
candle to light up the dark room. Thank you, Frank. So we bring in the light to light up the dark room. And this is even a kid who's a 3-year-old, when he goes into a dark room, he will automatically turn on the light, or yes, in a dark room, then it will that will bring in the light into bring in light into the room. So automatically that room can that room will brighten up. So this is an analogy represent about the consciousness is that when we in the darkness and we bring up the light in our own heart, then it automatically shine up. It helps ourselves to light up our energy. So I will go further into that. So I wonder, this is remove darkness. So this is an analogy for science in our daily living. I forgot an error here. Is some can anyone tell me when we in a dark room, can we remove the darkness?
No, you cannot remove the darkness from the room.
Thank you. Yes, it's almost impossible to remove the darkness from the room. So this is an example about to represent about the how our life runs is that so I would like we think this represent about our life. The darkness is the unpleasant things happen for us or problems. And as most of us, we will do our best to go and remove to solve the problem or unpleasant things that happens for our lives, and it's almost like impossible. Yes, for example, some people have some health issues or health problems. We will seek for cure, and so that is representing similar to go into a dark room and you doing your best to remove the darkness. And yes, the when you go and look for the solution, cure for the health problems, yes, it helps temporarily, and things will come back again. So that is a representing what I really grateful about the root of education is in our life, we think we have so many problems um, for our life. The masters and the teachers were sharing about the root of education. We all comes down. We can together draw half of the page here, the a house. Is that our lives evolve around basically it's four problems. So if you can draw a house with me here. And it's about our inner being. Inner being is about mentality, about our what's inside of us. So we say that is we name that is inner being. And the other corner that's underneath, on the lower part of the house, on the left side, it's we everything involved in about health. Another corner, and on the right corner of right wall of the house, we call relationships. So relationship that represents our families, any relationships involved. We have an S here, relationships, families, siblings, and all of that. And you have relationships in your workplace, friends. And on top of this house here, we have finance. Right. So once I get to know about this theory or this information, I I really it's very insightful for me to wow, if I were just thinking the problem involved in about my life was only the inner being, what is inside with myself here, and what is the health and relationships and finance. So it's more simple for me to narrow down. Oh, so what is my health doing? What is my inner being is my mental self emotion and mental, how is it going? And then relationships, do I have good relationship with family, friends, and relationships at work? Oh, so I look at it if to see if any of these are balanced. So let's say some people who have challenge with their mental health, then that will affect the finance, and it affect the relationship. It also affect the health. Because you can imagine when you don't feel well mentally, you don't, your health will get affected. Your relationship, the person's relationship will get affected because you don't have the energy and the clear mind to be with the to be present with the relationships or to be with the people around you, and that also affect your finance. It will be little difficult to have the motivation even to go to work to for the finance part. And also if a person who has a health issues or health problems that will affect the relationship, that also affect the mentality of a person. Hello, Jivan. Thank you for turning on the camera. Appreciate that. Beautiful smile you got. And then for the health, it also affect when the finance. At the same time, it yes, it affect if there's health problem, it will affect the finance, as we all know, and then it will affect our mentality, feeling weak. Also, when relationship is in challenge or is a problem, it also affect the other three corners. It affects mentality, also emotions affect our finance. It also affects our health as well. So all of these four corners are interrelated to each other. So how are we going to balance it? So and if there is some finance challenges, it also affects our well-being. It affects our health and it affects our relationship. So how are we going to balance this in order to have a more simple life? Life goes with ease. So I'm going to share with you to the next diagram. So anybody have any questions or any things or any realization that you when I just share with you? Hello, chị Tâm Phúc Đặng. Welcome to the Zoom. Thank you for being here.
Hello
Okay.
everyone. I cannot turn my camera on. I don't know why.
Oh. So I will change to the next diagram. Is how are we going to balance all of this these four areas about life that we evolve in this. Okay, so you have an opportunity, you can join in with me. Because the best way is to, excuse me, to light, to put the candle or to light up a house. So this house is going to be a big house. It's going to fit the whole page. Mm. Right? So, and this house we call House of Holistic and Health. So in the middle, you will draw a hexagon and then we'll divide it in 8. And so as earlier, the house underneath is called inner being. So inner being, for me, this is like a foundation of a house. When our foundation, which is our mentality, our emotions are stable, it's like a foundation for all other areas. And on the left, we name this as health. And on the right wall of the house, we call these is relationship. relationships. So all the relationships, and on the top of the house is finance. So some people say finance. Some people, when most of us when we, even for me too, is that when we're growing up, everybody around us saying that we need to make money. We need to make money in order to have a good life, and so forth. Sometimes I find people go and make money, and some of them forget about health. Some of them forget about their inner being and relationships. It's almost like they build the house from the roof. So building the house from the roof is not going to be very stable. So how are we going to balance all of these four corners of the house with the inner being in for a self inside of a self, emotions and mentality, and physical health, and also relationships and finance, is we light up with 7 candles. And this is amazing 7 candles that I got taught, and I really appreciate about it. So we light up a house with 7 candles. The first one is we light up the house with the wisdom. And the second one is we, on the left of wisdom, we put mentality. Mentality. So mentality is how we can use that's inside ourselves, and also we can use the word our attitude. When we meet people, we show our face. That's the external. Is how is our attitude? Are we sad? Are we happy? Are we mad? So that's represent the mentality. How we're doing when we approach to a person. So that we call that mentality, and also exchange to our attitude towards others. And the next one is we call character. And the middle one is so important. I give a little room here, and it's called integrity. Integrity. So integrity is so important because it's right in the middle. All of these, and the next one is called capability. Capability. What are we capable of? What kind of work that we can do? Are you a doctor or an engineer? So what you're capable of, it's measurable. And then physical. This box will be physical, or our vitality. How lively we are, how healthy, how fit we are. So that's what it is. And this corner, this box will be called material. Material is all the cars, the houses and stuff. So this house, once I discover, this house is called House of Holistic and Health and Wealth. So House of Holistic, House of Holistic Health and wealth. Fit in there, right? Everybody follow so far? Any questions or anything, any thing that you like to input? I see Mr. Ngọc Luân is just keep smiling. Thank you. Now, this house of holistic and wealth, and thank you, and Frank too. You're giving a good impression, smiling. This now, how earlier we were talking about how are we going to balance the four areas of our life is the inner being, health, relationship, and finance. Is we light up these candles, and the candles of wisdom, the candles of mentality or attitude, the candle of character, the candle of integrity, the candle of capability, physical vitality, and material. So, in order for us to light up these seven holistic of health and wealth, is I would like to share with you about what are these really about? Because when we see when the all these ones here, we cannot measure, and these here we can see and we can measure it. The people can measure what they can capable of, and they can measure how the health of a person, how fit and how healthy a person is. And the material, people can measure the material. So how to create these seven candles to light up the house, so we'll have a balanced life and a more simple life. So I'm going to share with you to the next diagram about seven holistic wealth. As the teachers and my master was sharing, so this is to explain what it really means, holistic wealth. So we'll start with material. As I said earlier, for material, we can, most of us think material gives us the rich. We think when we have cars, houses, and lots of material things that some of us think that is rich, right? And I will make just vitality, that is a physical vitality. That's a physical. And also, what are we capable? Capability. What are we capable of? These we call material. Because when we say it as material, because we can measure it, we can see it, we can touch it. So that's what we call material. And when a person is rich, and normally we would say rich because we rich in material, with all of this richness, it's not really permanent. It doesn't measure as a person is very rich. So with the other non-material we call, and that is we discover all of these are not the permanent richness. The other non-material makes our life more richness, and that will be integrity. And then the how integrity a person with other people, and then character, how happy a person around people, because when some people who think they are richness in all of these areas, they show the arrogant, and so that doesn't count as richness. So we discover that character gives more richness to for to called rich. And then how is our mentality? How happy, how serene a person when they around with other people. And the last one is a very important one, is the wisdom. Is that person with rich wisdom? And we call these non-material. So the non-material we cannot measure, and we portray these with our mentality, with the how presentable you are, how happy, how serene you are around people, and how you run your life with ease, and with serene, and with compassion. That is non-material. We see it in a person, we feel it in a person, and we cannot measure it. So a person, now I learned this the seven ways of for holistic wealth. Then I was like, wow, we can learn these and then live with these. That's considered richness of a person's life, or in any of us. And we can live with, we can have tools now to make ourselves and to think we are rich. It doesn't mean any material. We can have just a normal materialize, like a house to live in, a car to drive, and enough food to eat and clothes to wear. That I feel richness, because when I have this with me, then I feel I'm rich enough. It doesn't mean that I have lots of money in the bank that I'm rich. How I am rich is I am rich in wisdom, I'm rich in mentality, in character, and integrity. That this is the seven candles, how to balance our lives with inner being, with our health, with our relationships, and with our finance. This is more balanced life, and life goes with living life with a more simple and with ease. And I would like to share the another way. How are we going to put this non-material material things into material? Let's say a pair of shoes that, let me write this. We'll refer back to this one. Let me draw another diagram, a simple one. How do we materialize something into non-material and from non-material into material? So we call this non-material and then material. Let's say a pair of shoes. A pair of shoes is a pair of shoes. And how do they make it? So they elevate the price of it by, so this is, and we call it materialize. So I will just abbreviate this one right here. And then materialize. Let's say we have a pair of shoes, which is material, and then we materialize it into non-material. So a pair of shoes normally it costs $100, let's say, and then they make it into non-materialize it, meaning, so this is the same thing as wisdom, mentality, character, and integrity is. So how do we make it non-material is they elevate it by inviting or do marketing. They make it, they hire a movie star, a celebrity, or someone who's famous to wear it. And from wearing it, that making it, they boost up the price. They make it a non-material to, oh wow, people would like to buy it, even it in higher price or double in price, because I like to, for example, if I were to buy it, I like to be or to look like the movie star, because that movie star wear that pair of shoes, it must be valuable, for example, then I am willing to pay double the price than normal the price, because now they non-materialize it, they make it more valuable. So in our lives, let's go back to how do we make ourselves to have rich in wisdom, mentality, character, and integrity to make ourselves valuable. Like, for example, if we have a good, all of these, people like to be around us. And when we are rich in all of these, when we have all of these in ourselves, we become valuable because people like to be around us. For example, if you go around and you go for an interview in a company and you have all of these with you compared to other people who have weak, these are strong. Let's say I'm strong in these and I understand these. I portray myself in an interview with wisdom, with happiness and serene, then it's likely that the employer or the boss will see that in me, because now I present myself the non-material. And so it is likely I get hired than instead of a person who is very good at one item and portray themselves like a little bit sadness or miserable, then instead of having all of these candles in our life or portray ourselves in it, then we own both of non-material and material things. So, and that's the seven holistic wealth that we own. Okay, so that's an example about the shoes. For example, when let me go back to that again, is think of our children or think of ourselves. When, for example, my children, I raise them up. I tell them to go and to go to school, get a good mark, get a good job, a degree, and get a job. That is that my child is capable of that, and we have a good health. So your boss can, the person, the company will hire you. So these two items that I usually teach my kids is that you have to look healthy and you have to show your ability in order to get a job. Now, it, that's how society decide how valuable we are, which is very sad because everybody strive or go work, study very hard to get a degree, and then yes, take care of good health. So these two to go out there and to work, and that's measure as a value. Uh, and once that's not all. Once I understand all of these, measure the value, that is for long term, that is for healthy, that is wealth. If I feel all of these, I can attract wealth of the material, and with good health and good with even just with the character I portray, the serene, the happiness, the smile, the energy I present to the other people around me. That is all the wealth that I present. So let's go back to the material one. From the non-material, and it's how I materialize into material. For example, if I make a dinner, and then I invest some time for myself to go out there and buy organic food, and then when I go home, I say all of these I bought organic, and how they grow it, how they use all the organic, how good for our health. So that means all the the food on the table, I non-materialize it to make it into material, to make that meal more valuable, because now I know that when I'm eating this food, it's very healthy for my body and for everyone in the family. That is an example of how to I non-materialize it as well. So, any questions or anything, any input that anyone would like to share? Well, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here so I can share this wonderful uh, route of education that when I learned, I was like, realization, wow, that is how I can use these, make myself become valuable, and how I can feel richness in life when I present myself and then when I'm with other people. So all of these represent light, the principle of light, for as for us, as for human. Um, these are the seven, uh, the seven. We'll go back to this one. Integrity. Okay, here we go. This is how we bring light into our life. So when we go back to the main topic, is principle of lights. So how are we using all of these for our life to, again, I repeat, is to have a more simple way to lead our life and to live our lives. So those are the candles to light a house. Now, in the future, all of these are very broad topics. So in the future, I would like to present each of these topics in more details. Each of these candles in a more details, and so we can understand more and to bring that with us to live a life every day, to make ourselves rich in just even feeling that we have some the wisdom that we feel richness. Now, what else I would like to present to you? So this is again the principle of light, and these are the 7 candles that we use daily to build up ourselves to the wealth that we feel that we make ourselves. So for the richness in wisdom, the mentality with serene and with compassion and with honoring a gratitude, and for the character, how do people wants to be around us again, and when we have good character, people like to be around us, and when we have integrity, we integrity with ourselves and others. We keep our words. We are being on time, and also we keep our integrity around people. And then, of course, is we keep a routine exercise program to keep a ongoing exercise program is to one of the candle for a house is richness, because once you have good health, it affects all the positive things about finance, about inner being, and about relationship. And from all these 6 candles, in a way, it helps with the material. We attract more materials in our life, like investment opportunities or business opportunities. So I would like to share about the principle of light. For example, when everything we say, everything we think, when we shine the light into this house, if we do it every day, it helps ourselves, it helps me and my family members around me. And how do I do it? Is we keep our image. We keep a good image ourselves about that people. When we talk about the principle of light, we'll go back to this the triangle, I mean the rectangle, where did it go? Oh, there it is. The bright light and the darkness, it's always present in our life every day. It's duality. darkness is always present around us. So how do we bring light in every day? For example, I give an example of every day we acknowledge people around us, positive things. That is bring light into the dark room. When we bring light into the dark room, the darkness recede. It's like it disappeared. And how are we going to maintain that? To every thinking we think, we verbalize it. For example, the other day when my daughter was driving with me, and she was the driver. She's new. This is her first year, and when she turned the corner, she turned pretty fast. I got scared. I didn't want to say, I didn't want to say, don't do that, please. I got scared. So I calmed myself down. I was like, okay, it's okay. So the next day, I balanced myself the next day. I said to her, normally I would say without the light, without bringing use the principle of light, I would say, don't do that next time. That's very scary. That's very dangerous. You get into accident. Normally I would say that. And now I would not say that. I say, okay, mentality here. How can I bring light into this and with a positive thing? Anything with positive saying is bring light into the dark room that represent. So I said to her, uh, uh, daughter, my lovely daughter, when you turn the corner next time, anytime, please turn it slowly for safety. That is light. That is light into for her. Then it's for her. She would not react, and she will say, "Oh," she will keep the word safety in her head instead of if I were to say the other thing. Oh, if you turn the corner fast like that, you get an accident, and the word accident will get into her mind, and that is darkness. And sometimes we tend to keep the negative words in our mind um, longer than the positive word. So, how every day I use the bring light into our lives, even with my husband. I acknowledge what he does that day. Wow, that's a good idea. I would acknowledge that. That's a good idea. Let's do it. Then that is light into bring light into our conversation. Turn it from darkness into light. So darkness slow. Every day you don't need to see darkness. Every day you can just light the candle into the room, and the room is light always. And then with practice, you can do it. And with enough wisdom and enough awareness of what we are saying and what we are thinking every day with practice. And then we have this seven week, the seven richness, seven holistic we bring in every day. So that's for my presentation. I have a last final item I would like to share with you. How are we going to maintain the light into our life? Is this, if we every day we can remember these four areas, four things, is when you are not busy, because when we're busy, we don't think too much. When you are not busy, then then I say this available. I may look for a word available. That is available. or a better word, right now we just use when we are not busy, we are available. We go into serene. We think of serenity. What is serenity here when we are not doing anything? We see serenity. In Vietnamese, we say an vui. When we available, rảnh. This is called we rảnh. We go in rảnh, we go into an vui. So available, we go into an vui when we're not working or doing anything. Okay. And then these I call four methods. If you can give these four methods, these are light into alive every day. And then when we think, think, we think of seven holistic wealth. Holistic wealth. And then if we do any action, if we do anything, action meaning when we move, we do seven givings. All of these will be, I would like to to present more details in the future. These are overall, today is for the sake of the principle of light. Seven givings. I'll go more into details in other sessions. Givings, about what are the seven givings. And when we speak, we do apatelling. We say good things. Apatelling in Vietnamese is quảng bá. So when, for example, when I speak, my son, he so what do I say? I tell my son is in the business leadership program right now in Vietnam. And when my family here in Canada, I live, sorry, I didn't introduce much. I live in Vancouver, Canada. And when I tell my family here, my parents, my siblings and nieces, nephews, I got a good sized family in Vancouver area. They ask me, how is Hui doing? Because they have, my son, his name is Hui. They have no idea what Hui is doing, what kind of course. They have a vague idea. So I say, so this is a way to apatelling. I say good things about Hui. It's like he's in a really good program. He's his health is doing great because they have a good really exercise program. He's playing all the other sports, and then also he's learning all the seven holistic wealth, how to become a human that is valuable for himself and to the society, how to be a grow up. So I say all the good things about my son, and so the more that's light, bring light. As the more I say good things about my son, in not to not with ego, the good things, then the family have a good image about my son, and that gives the energy for him while he's in Vietnam, and everybody keep the good image about him. So that is an example, a way of bring light into for to share with my family, and then for bring light for my son. Yeah. So that's all. Please, every day, if you can practice all of this, that is a win-win. That's lots of lights into your house of the seven holistic wealth. Bring that with you. That you will have, and you will go life with ease and simple and serenity. Thank you all very much for listening. Any aha moments, any realization or questions? It's time for it.
Right now,
Feedback?
I'm only working on the serenity part. When available, just be serene. That's what I'm working on. I'm getting pretty good at the serenity part. Um, with the thinking, I think with your presentation, I am what I find most impressed and applicable is the other three. Um, I think it's and I can set the intention of thinking more about the holistic wealth while I'm thinking. I can definitely work on the seven charitable giving more often, and I think my weak point is not saying not ever telling good things. I look around me and my coworkers, and there are some people who they always have this positive energy, always sharing wonderful things that they enjoy in the day, and I think that definitely is something that I can improve on. So I thank to your sharing. I'm setting the intention to speak more about good things that I have in my life. Yeah, thank you, Jihan.
Thank you. I'm Frank.
Is that your that's the longest sharing you've done, right? Officially? Um,
Yes.
yeah, not only not yeah, and you did it in English. So
I
uh
know this is first time in English.
yeah, so excellent. First time in English and a lot of knowledge, even more sharing than your exam, the Mental Six exam. So a lot of knowledge you were able to draw on and share. Okay, so your mentality and attitude was very balanced, very serene. I totally feel it. Okay, the energy of serenity is present. So that's wonderful. Let me share a few vocabulary update for all of you, for everybody here. Okay, so I know that Miss Hoa has imprinted to that from my videos, and so I've used some vocabularies. And now that I am actively participating with the translation group, we have some new vocabulary that we can all benefit from.
I can
Uh,
stop share.
yeah, I think if I just share mine, it'll stop yours. Let me see if that have worked.
Okay.
There you
Thank
go.
you.
Okay. So let's get that a little bit. Move this over. Okay. The word appertelling. Make sure we get the spelling right. That is a newly invented word. Okay, it is not a word in the history of humanity. Appertelling it's an English word that was invented by Master Nhật Anh in his study. I think with the Master of Happiness or something like that. So you want to make sure you check the word appertelling. Appertelling comes from two words. Okay, one is we all know this one, appreciation. Okay, appreciation. And then the other one, when we appreciate something, we tell other people about it. Okay, so it's the telling other people about it. Okay, so appreciation plus telling, and what we get is après telling. Okay, so so check your spelling. Instead of après telling, it is après appreciate, and then telling. Okay, après telling. That's the noun form of the word. So if it is it's a we if we use it as a verb, he or she après tell, told. Okay, après told. Okay, so those are the verb form of the word après telling. Okay, yeah, so that's après telling. A few other vocabulary updates. Can you show me what is that vocabulary? An inner being. Oh, capacity, capability. So the other word, and I used to use capability, and the reason I'm giving you capability, I'm giving you this update because some of you are in the Mentor 7. Okay, some of you are actively in the Mentor 7. You are going to be studying and you're going to be testing, tested on these capability. Previously, I used the word capability. We are going to change that with the new vocabulary called competency. Okay. Okay, so you in your house of holistic health, you want to use the word competency. Okay. Let's see what else. I previously I used attitude, so the new word is now mentality. Right. So attitude is previously in my sharing. I used attitude. It is now mentality. So you guys want to make a note of that. Okay. Let's see. Integrity. That is a special word that only I use. And even though, let me draw the house of holistic wealth again. There's a special way that I share it, and nobody else is doing that. And you want to be careful when you use the word integrity when you talk about the house of holistic wealth. You want to draw the middle big, okay? Instead of tiny, make the middle room nice and big. Okay, so make them right there. Line. Okay, so we still have wisdom, mentality. When the official word that the WIT organization has adopted, and you want to learn the word from WIT, is virtue. Phẩm chất is defined as virtue in WIT. Okay, virtue. If you're going to study the way Master Tuan and the way other Vietnamese inner being specialist, you want to use the word virtue. Okay. Only even when I interpret, when I do an interpretation in the Zoom for the mentor class, I use the word virtue. I only use the word integrity when I do a sharing on during my weekday to the community outside. So if you want, you can do this. You can do integrity and virtue. But the phẩm chất, the way the material is taught, is virtue. Okay. Yeah. So don't go around using the word integrity unless you share it the way I do it. And the way I do it, the way I share the word integrity is very different than the virtue. The way I define integrity is a state of being whole, perfect, and complete. That is not anywhere in the official WIT teaching. Okay, so if you share that, the teacher was like, "What are you talking about?" Okay, that's a frank thing. Okay, so no, beware of that. If you go out there and you share with the community and you like the way I share it, then you can use the word integrity. But so the way I do it is that I would with my red pen. The way I do it is I would define it. I define integrity is a state of being whole, perfect, and complete. Okay. And then my next line, I would say a person of integrity. I would say things like a person of integrity is also a person of outstanding virtue. And then I go into defining what outstanding virtue is, which is the five phẩm chất, right? Um, uh, who is rich in nhân lễ nghĩa, trí tính, humanity, propriety, nhân lễ nghĩa, accountability, trí, wisdom. Oops. Tính, tính, nhân lễ nghĩa, trí tính, tính is trustworthiness. Okay, so be careful when you use the word integrity. In the Western world, every organization that is serious in developing themselves and other people in the training, they always use the word integrity. Okay, and we're doing personal development, we're doing organizational development, and we're missing out on the word integrity. We're like, we're not as advanced as other people. The way I share integrity is that the word integrity is integrate, right? The word integrate means to bring everything together. It's a glue that binds everything together. Integrate. And a person of integrity is a person who has everything together, whole, perfect, and complete, and words like balance. At the same time, I also point out that to work on virtue is a long process. Right? It's a long process from the bottom up, from the inner being. You have to work on your wisdom, your attitude, your character. You take a lot of work. But if you realize it's a realization, it is an awareness. If you realize that as a human being, we are whole, perfect, and complete. This is where I pull in the religious reference from the Christian Bible. Human beings were created in the image of God. And so the image of God is whole, perfect, and complete. And because we are whole, perfect, and complete, it becomes simple to express the virtue of humanity, to express the virtue of propriety, accountability, wisdom, trustworthiness. You don't have to work hard at being outstanding in virtue. You just be perfect. Okay? That's just my special way of sharing virtue, and I put the word integrity on top of that because it ties everything together. Okay. So those of you who are studying the mental wit and you're gonna do the test, just ignore the integrity part for now. Just study the way that they teach in using the word virtue. Okay. Some other comment. Okay. So let's make so that's a comment about vocabulary. Is there any other vocabulary? physical vitality. I still like physical vitality, but the official vocabulary is physical health. Okay. Because in the word health, there is the mental health, physical health, and social health. Okay. So when you're doing a test, use the word physical health. We already changed attitude to mentality. Character, competency. Okay, over here is competency. These are new words. Okay. And when you talk about material, you can use the material wealth. Okay. Physical health, material wealth. That'll make it easy, more simple to share. Okay. Finances. The correct spelling of finances is with an S. Okay, with an S in this context. Okay, there was a comment about vocabulary. So you guys want to make a note of that. Chị Tâm Phúc Đặng, chị Tâm Phúc, chị Đinh Thị Lệ Hoa, and Ngọc Luân and Ron. Those are for the purpose of your exam in the WIT program. Okay, any question about that before I say a few more? Anybody else want to practice sharing? I have a lot of things I want to say, but this is your forum. This is your chance. Chị Phúc, do you want to practice today? And Luân, do you want to practice? Or Ron, you want to practice before I kind of give some of my own giải chiêu?
Yeah, thank you, Miss Hoa. Your representation is very, very, very good, and I'm very impressed in your sharing. Yeah, I would like to learn from you and from all of you many things to improve my skill, improve my talent. Yeah. When you sharing about the principle of life, I just thinking about the principle or the principle of inquiring in agreement with desires. Yeah, because when we know the principle of life already, but we don't know how to apply it in our life, so it is useless. So I just think that's the principle of life to will lead us to the principle of inquiring in agreement with desire. So because the I think it's the positive in inquiry and the negative inquiry are always around us, but only the way we're talking, especially in the Vietnamese, when you're talking to other people, to our family member, we always talk to the necessity inquiry. As the Miss Hoa just sharing about when she sit on the car with with her son, right? Maybe we can we say something is like we already practice it all our children, or this is our habit already. But after I learned this from WIT. So I try to practice day by day. I change the way to talk, and I know that will slowly we change our attitude, and also our habit. We will gain the good habit, and also so the bad habit we fly away. It's like the dark will be will disappear when the light coming. So I also practice day by day at the moment, and I try to talk something in like the positive in inquiry in inquiry. Yeah, so I have some experience like that, and I would like to share with you. Thank you, Miss Hoa. Thank you, Miss Frank, to have the good class like this for me to practice, and also to to know many things, to the new thing, and also the vocabulary also. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you anh Ngọc Lân. Yeah.
Okay. Let's work on our competency as inner being specialist, inner being coach and trainer. Okay. So let me share a few tips on our sharing competency or our sharing capability. Let's start with the first picture we went over. Let's see if we can. The first picture that we went over was the boat, right? Let me see. Before that, when you want to, if you want to make the sharing simple for other people to grasp, and if we want to create an impact in other people's life and cause a transformation, right? Excuse me, that's the ultimate purpose of what we're doing here, right? We're trying to help other people transform. So the sharing, in order for the sharing to make an impact, we need to keep in mind some focal point, trọng điểm, focal point. Okay, there are two types of focal point. Trọng điểm tri thức, which is a focal point of knowledge, lot of knowledge, right? Chỉ Hoa spent an hour and a half pulling in a lot of knowledge over, knowledge that had been compiled by many masters over many years, and in just a 90-minute spans, she was able to transmit a lot of those knowledge. Okay, but in order for the knowledge to stick, to be a transformative part, to cause a transformation in a person, we need to pay attention to the focal point of awareness. Okay, trọng điểm nhận thức. Trọng điểm nhận thức, the focal point of awareness. What we're trying to do is we're trying to shift another awareness. Okay, we're essentially trying to shift other people's awareness so that when they have a more full awareness, they would have new reality, right? We all learn about nhận thức, có nhận thức hay không có nhận thức. We all learn about to have awareness versus not to have awareness. We're trying to expand a person's awareness so that when their awareness is full and complete, they would also have the reality of whatever topic that we're trying to share. Okay, so trọng điểm nhận thức. Okay, so focal point of awareness. And there are several very simple ways to help a person come to a more fuller and complete awareness, is to use fewer words. To use fewer words, but give more meaning. Okay, so as an expert in the inner being knowledge, we actually want to use fewer words. But those words, each and every word that comes out of our mouth has to convey some meaning, and it has to lead from one to another. There's a logical, use fewer words, give more meaning. It has to have a logical progression. Okay, A lead to B lead to C lead to D. There's a logical progression. If we don't do the logical if we cannot tie A to B, B to C, then we cannot prove that A equals C. Right? A person is at point A, we're trying to get them to point C, D, E, F down the line. We're trying to expand their knowledge. But if we don't connect A to B, B to C, C to D, then it'll be confusing and they will not get to that point that we're trying to explain. Logical progression. So every line, every statement that we say has to connect with the next statement logically and connect to the next statement logically. Okay. To illustrate that with the example, the boat. Okay, so the boat. A boat. Okay. One of the tips for drawing is that you save yourself or you save other people from confusing by labeling it. So you can never go wrong. Okay, so make sure you label it, the boat. And another one is to use colors. Okay, use multiple colors. So the boat should look different from the water current. Draw an actual river. The actual river. The waves is not as important. You want to draw a river with, the two edges. Okay. And in this sharing, in order for the use to fewer word, more meaning, and logical progression, don't draw the person yet. Just draw the boat. You say, okay, imagine this boat. And this boat is floating on the river. Okay, just two lines. The boat and the river. You already paint a picture with just two lines. Imagine the boat. The boat is floating on a river. Next line, this river has a current. So you can write the word down, current. You can do the same color as a river, okay? Has a current. Oops, my spelling needs help today. It has a current that goes from point A to B. Draw 2 points. You're going to draw an arrow. You don't have to draw 2 points, just draw A to B. Yeah, that's fine. There you go. A to B. There's a current. Okay. And so just that much, we want to emphasize just that much. Don't move on yet. Don't draw the person. Don't talk about the different direction. You emphasize the boat is on the river. The river has a current. Current go from A to B. And we want to drive down the main point of this. If the boat just float on the river, can you imagine that it can go from A to B? Very simple, right? We want to establish that picture, that visual image of floating down the current from A to B. Very easy, okay? Very simple. Can you imagine that if the boat just float along the river, it can go from A to B very simply, very quick. Okay, so that is the point of awareness. Okay, cause a person to be aware. Oh, okay, that's awareness. Just flow down the river. And we haven't said anything yet, but we have already drove home the point of awareness. Okay, well, I've only said a few sentences. Imagine the boat on a river. River has a current. Current go from A to B. And all you got to do is imagine, cause the person to imagine, ask the invite the person to imagine the boat just floating down the river. Okay. And so this, we call that the alignment. Okay. So we say, okay, if you just flow down the river, we are basically aligned. Align with. Okay. Align with the current. I think last time I put the current in the middle and the word align on top. So we have to think about these things, when we practice while we're preparing, how to present it in such a way, okay, align with the current. In fact, let's do that. If we want to redraw this picture in such a way that is simple for the participant to understand, to grasp. And so then we draw the boat real quick, okay? Make sure we label it, okay? If you have time, you can, make some, okay, river, okay? All right. And this boat has a current, okay, that goes from A to B. There you go. Go from A to B. And if we just let the boat align with the current, align with current, then you can imagine the boat will go from A to B very quickly. We drive home that point. Just align with the current. That's it. Even if we don't move on and a person walk away with this image that the boat align with the current that goes from A to B, then the boat can go from A to B, and they just leave the classroom, we have caused an awareness. At some point in their life, that picture may come up in their head, and they will actually get the whole principle. That's the power of it. Mental images is very powerful. Use fewer words, okay? And then now we expand the awareness a little bit more. First of all, okay, if we just align with, we'll go from A to B very quickly. Now imagine if this boat has a person, okay? And the person is rowing the boat or paddling the boat, putting in effort. That's a keyword. When we talk, it says the person is putting in effort. And effort aligned with the current. Can you imagine the boat will go from A to B much more quickly? Right? Just a few sentences, a few lines, and each line connect to the next line. It paints a picture in a person's mind. It gives them a beneficial source concept. With a person, we added some effort. With the effort, it will cause the boat to go from A to B very much more quickly. And then we add the third option, even though we don't need to draw it on there. Imagine the boat has a motor on it, right? And we would say invest some resource. First is effort. The motor represents resources. So if a person make an effort, they'll get from A to B very quickly. If they invest some resource in the form of a motor, then you can imagine the boat go from A to B really, really, really fast. You drive home the point of alignment with the river. And the person can walk away and not have to hear the rest of the lesson, and they will still get it. We have just caused an expanded awareness. And they say, of course, if the person has time, then they stay in the room. Then we say, of course, there is another scenario. Okay, another scenario. You can try to go from B to A. Try to go from B to A against the current. So, okay. You don't need to draw 3 arrows. You only need to draw 1 arrow. 2 arrows. There's an arrow that goes aligned with current, and there's the arrow go against current. That's it. Right? And so if you go against the current, you can imagine that you want to ask a question. Can this boat go from B to A, yes, it can. It can go from B to A against the current. So we want to establish the person's awareness that yes, you can go against B to A. But in order to do that, you have to put an effort. You have to invest in a motor to go against the current from B to A. Okay? The best way would be, yeah, okay. When you want to go back and look at the picture that Master Tuan draw. For some reason, my brain is not as clear this morning to draw the picture. But yeah, you can draw it without, you can draw 3 arrows, but you can minimize it and only draw 2 arrows. And so we drive home the point that you can go against the current, get from B to A, but in order to do that, we have to pay the price. That's another key point. That is a point of awareness that we need to drive home. You have to pay the price with effort. You have to pay the price with resources that we investment in. And on top of that, if we were to stop the effort, if we were to stop the resources, right? Stop paddling or stop running the motor, then guess what? The boat will float backward to where we were before. And we lose all of that effort. That is another point that we want to drive down. That is the person who's listening to the story will feel the impact of the loss of effort, the loss of resources if they go against the current. Okay. Yeah. So at each of those points, we drive home the key point. Okay. It imprints in the person's mind. And then we say, okay, now that the person had the picture of it, then we say, okay, well, this boat represents our life. Okay, this is a point of knowledge, not so much a point of awareness, but this is a point of knowledge, a key point of knowledge. Okay, a focal point of knowledge. This boat represents our life, and the current or the river represent principles and laws. When I first shared it, I used the word universal principles and natural laws. You can do that, but for your test in WIT exam, just use principles and laws. Okay. Because there are human principles and human law or social principles and social law that we want to align ourselves with as well. Okay. I use universal principles and natural law because they are not arbitrary. Human laws can be arbitrary. And so sometimes you obey the law, but that's, it depends on different society, and that you don't necessarily get a good life by, but yeah, let's not go there. We just say principles are law. Okay. Okay, so that's the point of awareness. Okay, we have just now opened a new awareness. Okay, people didn't know that they have to align with principles and law. And in order to connect to the next part of the principle of light, in order to connect, we have to say, well, what are some principles and law that we should align ourselves with? We have to ask the question. We have to create the inquiry. Kiến tạo nghi vấn. We have to help the other person create an inquiry. Because it is only through the inquiry that they will experience a realization. Có nghi vấn mới có ngộ. So if we don't create an inquiry, if we don't say, okay, what principles and law should we align ourselves with? Immediately when you say that, the person's mind opens up. They're like, oh, okay, yeah, what principles and law? Now they're curious. They want to know more. Without saying that, they're not going to be ready for the next topic. When we say, oh, what principles and law should we align ourselves with? Then they become curious. It stimulates their desire for knowledge. Okay. The focus of human nature is desire and imagination. Trọng điểm của tánh người là tham và tưởng. When you create an inquiry, help a person invent an inquiry, you stimulate their desire and their imagination. They start imagining, oh, okay, what principles and law? What is it going to make my life, very worth living? And then you say, well, one of the universal principle or law that we want to align ourselves with is the principle of light. Okay, that's how you move from one to another. Before you move to any slide, you always have to create that inquiry. Give the person an inquiry. So let me show you a formula for doing that. And this is something I just made up just now. I just downloaded this just now while Ji Hua is sharing. So thank you, Ji Hua, for stimulating my mind today. This is not taught. It was not taught to me in any of the training, but this is this is what I got just now. Everybody, all of us, begin with an awareness. We all have some awareness, right? This is our existing awareness. Okay, this is our existing awareness. What we're trying to do is expand a person's awareness, right? As an inner being coach and trainer, an inner being specialist, what we're trying to do is expand a person's awareness. In order to expand a person's awareness, we have to create an inquiry or help them create an inquiry. Okay? Help them to get an inquiry. Generate an inquiry. From that inquiry, you basically ask the question and then you answer the question. You help the person ask the question, what kind of principles and laws should we align ourselves with? And then we answer the question. It satisfies their desire and imagination for the knowledge. So you give them the new knowledge. Okay, so from an inquiry, you give them new knowledge. What that new knowledge does is it causes a cognitive shift. Okay, this is a word that I picked up from another schooling. Okay, that cognitive shift, which is a shift in perspective. Okay, sometimes it'll feel like, sometimes it can be uncomfortable for some people. Okay, the cognitive shift can be a little uncomfortable, and that's important. That cognitive shift bring a person to a new awareness. So we have now expanded a person's awareness. Where it was here, we give them inquiry, give them new knowledge, they experience a cognitive shift, and that manifests itself as a new state of awareness. Okay, and with that new state of awareness, now they know, okay, there's something called principles and law. Now we're going to talk about principle of light. And then we create an inquiry. Okay, what is the principle of light? Guess what? We have just used the same formula. Inquiry again. By drawing that house. I invite you guys to draw with me this rectangle. Okay, as you draw the rectangle, then in their mind they're inquiring, what are you doing? Why are you drawing a rectangle? And then you answer the rectangle by basically more knowledge. Okay, you draw the rectangle. As we draw, those are new knowledge, the more knowledge. Okay, and then we ask the questions. Okay, when it comes to the light and the dark, Let me draw that picture as well. Using fewer words and give more meaning. Okay, so if you're gonna draw the dark room, don't use dark color, black or brown. And like before, label it dark room. Okay, dark room. So we tell people, ask people, okay, imagine this represent a dark room. And here's a question that you want to ask. And this is the simplest way you can ask this question. Okay, and pay attention to the way it is asked. What is the simplest way to brighten up this room? Lot of important words in it. Simplicity. Okay, later on we're gonna drive home the idea of simplicity. What is the simplest way to brighten up this room? Okay, already we're speaking the language of light, brighten up the room. Okay, what is the simplest way to brighten up the room? That's it. What is the simplest way to brighten up the room? Like 10 words. Okay, and then we give you different examples and stuff like that. And you say, well, the simplest way to brighten up the room is to bring light in. Okay, you use color. Okay, bring in light. Bring in light. Okay, if yellow is hard to see, you can use pink or something like that. Bring in light. Okay, and of course you can, this is when you can mention that, okay, light has a duality of darkness. Wherever there is light, there is no darkness. Wherever there is darkness, not enough light. That's it, just two lines. We establish a picture of the entire duality of light. Wherever there is light, there is no darkness. Wherever there is darkness, not enough light. Okay? And so, we have, this is where you say, okay, yeah, we have already established that the simplest way to brighten up the dark room is to bring light in. Even a 3-year-old know how to do that. And this is where we can give a hypothetical question, a hypothetical situation of removing the darkness. And our point in giving that hypothetical is to basically slash it, to destroy that idea as being a bad idea. Okay, you say, okay, well, you can argue that if somehow we can remove the darkness, then the room would brighten up. Because we said earlier, wherever there's light, there's no darkness. Wherever there's darkness, not enough light, then you can argue, okay, we're trying to be ironic, okay? You can argue that if somehow if we remove the darkness, then the room would brighten up. Okay. But immediately we need to go and we need to destroy that idea. Okay. By saying it's not realistic, is it? It's not realistic. Can you somehow remove the darkness and expect the room to brighten up? You can't. Okay. However, I will show you that as human beings, we try to do this all the time. As human beings, we mistakenly try to remove the darkness from the room all the time. And the dark room, the darkness represents the problems of our life. Okay, the darkness represent the problems of our life. And this is where we go and we draw this house. We invite a participant, go ahead and draw this little house with me. Okay. And we this is where we establish an awareness, like we establish an awareness. Up to now, all of us think of life as having many, many problems, right? Do we all have many problems? Life seems to be so complicated. Right? So this we establish an existing awareness. Okay, an existing awareness. Everybody seems to think that life is so full of problems, so many problems. But the sages have taught us to simplify it. Okay? The sages have taught us to simplify it so that when at any moment in time, when you look at your problem, you will find that there is only 4 areas. Right? Okay, so to drive home the idea of simplicity, simplifying the problem. Inner being, what is this one? Health. And this is our relationship. And our finances. Right? Whereas previously, okay, once again, we re-establish the existing aware, whereas previously we think of life having so many problems. But if we just take a moment and simplify it, we will notice that there are only 4 areas of life that we need to deal with. The problems of our inner being, the problems of our health, the problems of our relationship, and the problem of our finances. Whenever we have a problem, just take a moment and reflect, and you will notice that something is going on with our inner being, something is going on with our health, something is going on with our relationship, something is going on with our finances. And they are interrelated. Okay, our inner being affect our relationship, our inner being affect our health, our inner being affect our finances. We want to begin with that. The inner being the root of everything. Even before talking about the problem, we just say our inner being affect our relationship, our health, our finances. Okay? And vice versa. Our relationship affect our inner being, our health will affect our inner being, our finances affect our inner being. At the same time, we will notice that our health is affect our relationship, and our relationship affect our health. That is just the theoretical introduction. And after you introduce the theory, you give example. For example, if we are depressed, it'll affect our physical health. If we're okay? So we try to get example. Give a 3 or 4 example will help make it real, okay? And so we have to drive home the conclusion, the connection between the dark room and this, okay? And so the problems of our lives is represented by the darkness in the room. And guess what? We up to now have been mistakenly trying to remove the darkness by trying to fix the problem. And we ask the inquiry again. Have you all been trying to fix problems of your health, fix the problem of your relationship, fix the problem of your finance, and fix the problem of your inner being? You will notice that we can try to fix the problem, but the overall problem don't go away. If you have a health issue, you take medication, that's fixing the problem. But if you don't get healthy, then the sickness is going to come back. If we don't bring the light into the room in terms of elevating our health, then our problem will come back. So you see the progression, the step-by-step connection between one statement to another statement, and you drive home the point. The point in the key focal point of awareness in this slide is don't fix the problem, bring the light in. And so even before we move on to anything else, we have to establish and make sure that the participant, you're gonna watching and ask the question, to make sure the participant get the idea that, oh yeah, removing the darkness is a bad idea. Fixing the problem of your life is a bad idea. Life is very simple. There's only 4 areas. That is 4 areas that the simplification of our life is the point of the focal point of knowledge. But the focal point of awareness, a shift in awareness, is that instead of fixing the problem, we're gonna bring light in. That is a new awareness. Previously, the existing awareness is that we fix problem. We ask, do you notice that fixing problem doesn't really fix the problem? Fixing our health doesn't make us healthy. Going after focusing on darkness, right? Focusing on darkness, focusing on our diseases isn't going to make us healthy. Those are when we get a chance to give more example. Okay, we go through examples of finance when we're in debt. That is a problem, right? When we have financial problem where we go in debt, what do we try to do? We try to get a new credit card to pay for our expenses. And that's fixing the problem. We get a different job. We get a second job. So yeah, we bring our finance, but we pay the price of our health, right? So our problem don't go away when we try to fix the problem. So instead of fixing the problem, the sages have taught us that we want to bring light into the room. Okay, we bring light into the room. We work on our health, we work on our relationship, we work on our inner being, we work on our finances. Okay. So when a person, you get the sense, you're gonna watch and what you get the sense of people agree, okay, it's a good idea to bring in light. So that is a new awareness. My new awareness, bring light in the room. Then we take them further. We say, okay, new inquiry. How do we bring the light into the room? Always have to ask an inquiry. Okay, how are we going to brighten up this room of our life? This room, dark room, represent our life. Darkness represent the problems of our life. Okay, there are only 4 areas to work on. How do we brighten up the room? How do we brighten up our life? Then we go over and we ask the participant, okay, help me draw this house again, but this time bigger. I'm gonna draw the room, make it, and divide in different rooms, and the way, and you would label it, label it, and the way we brighten up this house is to light a bunch of candles. And because this mental image is so powerful, I do take the time to draw the candle, and I just use the marker to go real quick, like that, boop, 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 like that. Okay, and use the red, the flame, 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 because the principle of light is so important. You want to take some time to, draw a mental images of it. Okay, and there's some shiny brilliance on the flame. There you go. Okay, you can do that quickly. Okay, flame. So now people will see, ooh, nice sound with a bunch of candles. Then you can label the candle. We want to brighten up the candle of wisdom, the candle of mentality, the candle of character. Every time we mention it, we attach the word candle or the light of our virtue, the light of our health, the light of our competency, and the light of our material wealth. Okay, and then yeah, you make sure you label all the edges, right? Inner being. Relationship, okay. You light up the candle of our wisdom, candle of our mentality, candle of our character, Okay, all of that. I was gonna say something. In other words, this is the house of holistic health or house of holistic wealth. What we want to do is enrich, okay? Use the word enrich, okay? Enrich our wisdom, enrich our mentality, enrich our character, enrich our virtue. Don't enrich our integrity. That's why integrity is a weird word that doesn't, enrich our physical health, enrich our competency, and enrich our material wealth. In fact, this is another point of awareness. In fact, if you enrich all of these 6 aspects of a house of holistic wealth, our wisdom, our mentality, our character, our physical health, our virtue, our competency. In fact, a person who is rich in wisdom and rich in mentality, a person who is rich in character, rich in physical health, rich in virtue, rich in competency, if a person is rich in all of these 6 areas, then it is impossible to be materially poor. That's a statement that I like to drive home. It is impossible to be poor if you're rich in this other area. The country of Vietnam is still relatively poor compared to some of the Western world. So that is why Master Tuan referred to this as a house of holistic wealth, or the 7 holistic wealth. I have to be careful when I use the holistic wealth because there are many people who are already materially wealthy in the Western world. What they need is health. So I focus on the idea of holistic health. I work in a healthcare. So that's why I'm saying holistic wealth and health. Okay. Especially in the Christian world, when Christian is taught to, get rid of your material wealth. I mean, if you focus on too much on the wealth, it doesn't, it's kind of jar with a person's mentality. But if you combine the word health, holistic health is a common word that everybody understands, but it also helps Westerners understand that holistic health equates to holistic wealth. Okay? And the point that I drive home for those who are materially oriented, there are people who are still interested in material wealth. The point that you want to drive home is that if you are rich in wisdom and rich in mentality, rich in character, rich in physical health, rich in competency, and rich in virtue, then it is impossible to be materially poor. You have to be materially rich as well. And so instead of working on our material wealth, you see how it connect. Instead of working on our material wealth, we go to work on the stuff that is on the bottom. And remember, if you remember, you can play with this. Okay, play with that. Right? Inner being represent the foundation of our house. The health and our relationship represent the walls or the pillar that hold up the house, and then our finances are the roof. And here we invent an inquiry. We ask person again, do you notice many people go to work on their finance up on top? Many people try to build the house from the roof down. Okay? Inquiry. Do you notice, or have you spent time in your life working on your finance? And we ask again, what happens when our health fails? When our health fails, guess what? Our finance will also go down. Why? Because when our health fails, we use money to pay for our health. That's fixing the problems of our life. We use money to pay for our health. Right? Some people spend time working on their finance, making money, and they don't pay attention to the relationship. What happened when the marriage relationship failed? Literally, half of the finance go away. See the mental image of it? Literally half. There are 2 parts of the finance, and if the relationship they get divorced, they literally lose half of the finance. Okay, and you bring it back. Okay, and then you ask a question again. Inquiry. What happened when we have a problem with our inner being? Okay, when our inner being collapse, everything else collapse. Okay, drive home the point that is a new awareness. Okay, a new awareness. That's the picture that you want to write down and share with other people, share with other mentor if you want to. Begin with an existing awareness. We go through inquiry, we go to new knowledge, cause a cognitive shift, get a new awareness. We go again and again and again. Okay, more knowledge, go through this cognitive shift again. And we expand new awareness. And it's just keep on going. Okay, that's how we expand a person's awareness. Okay. All right. Any question? Any lesson impression or realization?
Thank you, Frank. That's so awesome. It's so, I get more when after sharing and get feedback, constructive feedback. It's just
Yeah.
more eye-opening, more knowledge absorb.
Yeah. The tendency for a lot of new graduate mentors and even master, the tendency is we get greedy about sharing the knowledge. We want to share everything. We want to throw everything out. Everything we learn, we want to throw everything out. But if we don't make the connection between one point to another, then it gets all jumbled up. So next time, you share, the next time Ron share, next time anh Luân, chị Đặng, chị Phúc, cô Lệ Hoa share. Don't worry so much about all the knowledge. Focus on just one or 2 points and see if you can get across the point very, very clearly. Doesn't matter which topic. Okay, you may not remember everything. Even now, when I share this after 2 years, sometimes I would still forget some part. But as long as you can connect and chain together really tight different point, and that will drive home the lesson to the for the learner. Yeah, focus on connecting the viewpoint that you have. And that's why I said I had the advantage of not having too much information. I did not have a lot of time to study, to attend classes. And so the totality of knowledge that I have is not as much as other people. But because I have less information, I get to work with the little pieces of information and I can make it very tight. Yeah.
Hello, Frank. Hello, everyone. Something you just pointed out that really stuck with me is how you get greedy to share the knowledge. And that was my problem, I think, when I was sharing, is I wanted to share everything at once, but I didn't have all the knowledge there. And I look at you and Hua. Hua did a great job this morning. I really appreciate her sharing. But what I saw was I wanted to be like you, but I'm still learning. And I am now aware of that too. Like I'm still learning. I need to take the steps to get to where you're at. And yeah, that's where I'd like to be, and I will be there eventually. And
Yeah.
something else that Hua shared was about her daughter driving and how she got scared and the way she approached her the next day. I hope she looks at that. This morning I had a problem too. Every morning I get up to make coffee, and my machine told me it's a Keurig machine. I told me I was out of water. So what I have is a Kangen machine. I turned the tap towards the machine, turned the tap on, filling it up. I walked away. I flooded the floor. So I cleaned it up while Donna was sharing, or Hua was sharing, and I hope she looks at that. You now have a nice clean floor.
Yeah, yeah. Human nature is a wonderful thing. We have we have desire and imagination. And if you remember, um, desire has the positive and negative. Right, so there's a positive, and then there's the negative. Use black for negative. Okay. Um, when there's a desire to give, the need to give is one of the human needs, and that's great. We as a kid we begin by desire to receive, but as we grow older and we get more mature, there's the desire to give, okay, and to express ourselves. But that is still a negative desire. Okay, the need, desire to give. The desire to give itself is positive. But here's the thing. But this is a little advanced, okay? The desire to give, because you think about other person, the desire to give is positive, but because it is our desire, it is a part of our need. You have to consider that our need to give versus the other person's need to receive. So consider need. Instead of using the word desire, let's use the word right here. Let's use our need to give or to share, okay, versus their need to receive. So when we're sharing, we are doing this because we are satisfying our own need or our own desire to give. If we just satisfy our desire to give, we're just gonna talk, and just give. But if we don't consider the other person's need to receive or the need to transform, they need to receive or need to transform, then we're not gonna get our point across. So instead of focusing on our own need to share the knowledge, focus on the other person's need to receive, need to give versus our need to give versus their need to receive. It is their reception that will be their transformation. It doesn't matter what we say, it doesn't matter what we give. We can give, but if they don't receive, no transformation. Right? So we think about the other person, how they're going to receive it, not how we're going to, what we're going to say. So obviously, how they receive it will is dependent on how we give, okay, how we get a point across. But the point is to think about the other person, not so much about ourselves. And if you can do that, it also had the benefit of eliminating stress and fear and worry. A lot of us first time sharing with, right? I'm so nervous. We're nervous because of the other desire for identity, right? We want people to accept us. We fear looking bad. That's all about thinking about us. But when we think about the other person, that means, so we basically don't think about ourselves anymore. Then it becomes more simple to share. And you can, you have no fear to talk in front of a handful of people or a few thousand people because we are thinking about the other people, not ourselves. Never mind our need to look good, never mind our need to do it right. If we think about the other person's need to receive, to transform, then we forget about our need, and that would actually open up the window or the door, open up the door for success. To think about the other person's need over ourselves, even though the desire to give is a pretty good one already. Yeah. Negative is selfishness, right? Negative is selfishness. When we think about ourselves, all fear is self-protection. Okay. Selfishness. And positive is altruism, other self. Okay, the desire for other people. It is desire for other people that will cause a person to do unlimited, number of good things. That is the desire for other people that will cause us to break out of all of our barriers, right? Fear of failure, fear of criticism, not enough knowledge, not enough condition. All of that fear, all of that self-limiting awareness can be erased when we are focusing on the other person. Okay. Didn't hear much from you, the Phúc, today. You were able to get your camera to turn on?
Yeah, I did because I had a telehealth with the doctor this morning, so I
Okay.
also was in the Zoom and I have that camera on.
Mm.
When I went into your Zoom, I realized that I couldn't because I need to turn off in the other. So I did. Yeah.
Okay.
So thank you. So thank you, chị Hoa, for sharing today. Um, I'm so admire you with your knowledge and the way you sharing. I wish I can do like that. That's so good. And also, I'm very appreciate the highly constructive um, um, idea from Thầy Frank after sharing, like after everyone sharing, he always give us the um, he always support us by giving the better idea how to share and I my realization today is about the connected self that when we have these when we have the existing awareness and then with the inquiry, right? Inquiry, we create more um inquiry and then it will create more new knowledge. And then from that, we have the connected set. It just reminds me of the way about the opening question and closed question. Like when we interview someone, we always have an opening question. Like we ask them, but we open a way for them to answer. We're not we're not just ask and then close, don't give them the way to answer. So this is also the way that to get into the new awareness. And then that circle just go around and around and we get more information about people and also both the the listener and the speaker, they both get into the same page. So that's the really, really good. Thank you very much. I'm very appreciative for your helping your wholeheartedly sharing and helping us to get through our journey on being inner being coaching journey,
How's
especially
the
English.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. How's the Mentor 7 class going on? How do you guys I just want to get a little bit of feedback, how you
Oh,
experiencing the mental, are you learning anything, any lesson from realization from those courses? Well,
um, so on the day that I get home early, I'll be able to join to two Zooms. So the main Zoom to join into uh, to be count the attendant is the Vietnamese Zoom. So I always join in there first, and then when I go home, then I'll be able to join into the English Zoom.
okay.
On the Vietnamese Zoom, I try to take note and taking the picture from the lesson. And then in the English Zoom, actually, I don't, I can't listen in both Zoom at the same time. So I listen to the Vietnamese because I want to absorb the knowledge by my language first. And then sometimes when the teacher is saying in Vietnamese, I try to translate just in my mind by English, and I hear some word. I try to recall in my vocabulary to see if I know that word, and then if I don't know that word, then I'll write down and then I'll look it back later. And then in the screen, because the supporter in the Zoom very helpful, they do the
Transcription.
transcription. They do the transcription. So I copy of the transcription. I just like, I don't even, if I have time, I'll read it. If I don't have time, I just read. But I realize that everyone doing their own purpose. Like one will doing from the transcript and one just saying what the teacher say, just like a conversation. So I will try to copy the transcript from the lesson, and then if I have chance, I'll read it again. But I realize that some of the vocabulary in the transcription,
It's different. Yeah,
I
because it's
think it's from
AI.
the
Yeah, the
AI.
AI does it. So the transcription can help you understand, but don't, yeah, you want to pay attention to the word that is spoken by the presenter or the interpreter in order to get the vocabulary. Yeah.
Yeah, so but I copy it anyway because this will helpful too. And then if I have time, if I want to listen again in English, then I go into your playlist. So thank you very much.
Okay.
That's how I do. But actually, before joining to the 339 is mean the English Zoom. I was in the Vietnamese and I made some of the lesson realization in Vietnamese. But now in this English Zoom, I I'm thinking that maybe I do this in English. So, but I haven't do it. I need to, maybe today and tomorrow, I need time to sit down and do my lesson. Otherwise, I'll be behind so much.
Yeah,
Um,
don't worry so much about being behind. When I was studying as a mentor five, as I said, I had very little time. Okay, I am known for being in class while driving. And then even then, there were times that I was not able to be in class at all, or even had time to listen. Even if I recorded the material, I don't have time to go back. If I don't have the time to be in class, and then I don't have time to read, to watch it later. I just keep the recording, but don't worry so much about not being able to catch any information. What you want to focus on is get really good at what you do have, right? Whatever class or whatever material that you are able to take note, or just think a lot about that, connected into a very tight um, uh, package, so that when you share back what you know, you don't have to know much. You just need to know little, but what little you know, and you are really tight about it, it will come up as being a professional, a specialist, and an expert. Okay.
Okay, so thầy Frank, so I open up my note in Vietnamese, just in Vietnamese, and I would like to do by myself, like just say it in English, just like my lesson realization to see if I use correct word.
Okay.
So this from my Vietnamese note. So last time we learned about the mentality. Okay,
Mentality tâm
tâm
thái.
thái, tâm thái trong tư duy. So tư duy is now mentation.
Mentation,
So,
correct.
so
Mentation.
it will be mentality in mentation.
Exactly.
Oh, okay, cool. So so I have learned that the mentality consists of the three energy that is. So I used to use the words inner peace, but I saw Miss Hoa use the
That's another
Serenity.
one. That's another one of the update. Okay, so the if you're gonna study the with vocabulary, use inner peace. Okay,
Yeah.
I use serenity, but whenever I use serenity, I also use the word inner peace. So when you're doing your tests and stuff like that, just go ahead and use the word inner peace. Okay, so so these are the word that I used in the previous one, and I will continue to use this. But when I do, I will also say that serenity is inner peace.
Inner peace.
Okay, the word
Okay.
I use, I feel like they have a very high energy, but they're
Yeah.
not as commonly spoken. So sometimes it's difficult to say, like serene. Okay, it's difficult. It may be difficult to say because people don't say it, but I just get a sense that it is very high in energy. You can say inner peace. The reason I use serenity because of a prayer by Mother Teresa. Anybody here know Mother Teresa?
Yeah.
Yeah, famous saint, holy person, very loving person. Mother Teresa, people attribute a prayer to Mother Teresa that goes, "Dear God, please grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change that which I can, and the wisdom to know the difference." The serenity to accept the thing that I cannot change. That's what we're learning, right? Inner peace, serenity. The courage to change that which I can. Guess what? Changing ourselves. Okay. Here we're learning about changing ourselves. The courage to change that which I can, and the wisdom. We're learning about wisdom. The wisdom to know the difference. To know the difference, what to change and what not to change. So anyway, I use that because the word serenity has a very high energy level. It is not a commonly used word, but I just use it as a placeholder for the concept of an vui when I do the sharing of an vui. But I still see inner peace. The four words that the Hoa has shared today, right? When you are available, be serene. Okay. When I teach people, I say when you have nothing better to do, just be at peace. That's just a common way. When you got nothing better to do, just be at peace. Okay, inner peace. Just be at peace. When you got nothing better to do, be at peace. Or as today, when you are available, be serene. Okay, so I guess if you use it both in a conversation, when you're doing your sharing or when you do your test, when you're doing your bài học tâm đắc with your group, use both words. That's one way we can introduce a word to the greater audience. If it is a word that people are not familiar with, just use both in the conversation. You see, if inner peace is the official word, then you say, okay, inner peace or serenity. Just add that part. After a while, we plant those seeds into people's mind, and they will become natural for them to use it. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. just some idea.
Yeah. Thank you, thầy Frank.
Yeah. Inner peace.
So and I have learned that to activate the awareness. Oh, how to say? So the inner peace or serenity activate the total karma, and the tolerance. Okay, so that's about, I'm talking about a three energy of inner peace, tolerance, and honor, gratitude. Oh, it used to be gratitude and appreciation, right? So now we use
Now
only.
the official, now the official word has been changed to honor gratitude. Okay.
Okay.
Honor gratitude.
So that is the three energy in the mentality. And inner peace will activate the total karma. Tolerance will activate the total sống hiển nhiên,
Total karmic
the total
cognition.
karmic condition.
Cognition, that đúng rồi đó. Cognition is the thức. Okay. The other one is condition.
Oh, total karmic condition. And the tolerance will activate the karmic condition. Then the honor, gratitude will activate total karmic outcome.
Đúng rồi, yeah.
Okay. And then we learn about the source concept of the tolerance. So it will be, it go from the material to the energy and go from the information to energy and material. So information corner, the information triangle of the triangle reality of tolerance is the inner state that not attachment to anything in the inner being by the external circumstances.
Very good. Excellent.
And the energies, when we have the tolerance, the greed and the perception. So it used to be imagination, so it's now perception, right?
It is now wanting more word, more vocabulary. So it is wanting and imagination. Tham và tưởng. Okay, so previously,
Okay, wanting.
Yeah. Previously it was a desire
Greed.
and desire and perception. Now it is wanting.
Wanting and imagination.
Imagination, yeah.
Okay, so tolerance is the inner state when wanting and imagination ceases.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then material, and then that would be the definition from UNESCO, like it is respecting, understanding the differences from other in custom, belief and religion, races, and the way to act. Accepting for other people can do something that we not agree in limit to orient them. Oh my God, this is hard to translate. That's the definition of the UNESCO. And then the three rule that I have learned from the lesson, that to keep our mentality, we have to protect our blessing and merit. That's the first one. And the second is we have to protect our energy vibration frequency. And then also the positive
Intention.
the positive, and then we create the positive intention. So that is the three rules that we need to maintain to keep our mentality. So that was my lesson.
So you're reading the Vietnamese note and you're saying it in English?
Yes.
Wow. Amazing.
That
She can be an
because
interpreter.
that
Yeah,
yeah,
amazing.
I know it's in Vietnamese and I try to say it in
Amazing.
English because
That's
the
awesome.
transcription that I copy is a lot and the vocabularies in there is differently. So I just like, okay, when I have time, I'll read it back, but I try to use my old vocabulary when I talk about the lesson.
Great.
That's why
Great.
that's why I asked you.
Great work. Great work. I mean, yeah, your English is excellent. Okay, and definitely be an interpreter when you're ready. I think after you graduate Mentor 7, you should go back and be a supporting interpreter for Mentor 8.
Yeah, I would
Okay.
love to.
Yeah.
So when cô women speak in Vietnamese, and I try to translate in my mind, but I type out in Vietnamese, but I translate in my mind too.
That's what I do. Yeah, I do. Okay. Well, anyway,
Thank you.
yeah, it's I know it's late in Vietnam. It is now what 11 p.m., right? I'm very appreciative of you guys for taking the time to join it. The way that we use the word honor gratitude is I say there are different ways to use the word honor gratitude. Okay. Um, I usually say I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for your presence in the Zoom, and I'm honored by. So grateful for, honored by. I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for everything. And I'm honored by. Grateful or gratitude is the big earn part. It is rare that anybody use the honored part. And we kind of say that for when we really feel that we are honored by somebody or something. So most of the time we say, I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for that. Okay. You can say the way we use the word, you can say, to give thanks, right? It's like to express my gratitude. You can say, I want to express my gratitude, right? Express my gratitude. Or you can say, I'm grateful for you. I express my gratitude to you. And I am honored by, or you can say, um, I feel honored by, okay, honored by, grateful for, or express my gratitude for. Let's see what yeah, that's the way that the word is used if you want to use the word honoring gratitude. Okay, honor gratitude.
Yeah, I put on the chat box like a sample of the introduction when we start to talk about the lesson realization. That's how I copy from the
Yeah, I feel deeply honored and profoundly grateful for the invaluable knowledge I have received today. Oh, excellent. Okay, great use of the English language. With you, the key point of knowledge, the core insight I have gained in their practical in real life. Okay, good job. Excellent student.
Thank
Right.
you chị Tâm Phúc, học sinh ngon quá à. You're so good with the deep getting the knowledge. Frank, I just want to confirm tolerance you use in your Zoom here is magna.
Yeah. So if you've been imprinting my sharing, it's different. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me see the official, the updated with vocabulary is this is a source concept of tolerance. Tolerance. Okay, and if you remember the way Master Tuan shared it, we begin with a person who has the the virtue of forgiveness. Forgiving, let's say a person who is forgiving. Okay. Next one is the person who is this virtue of lenience. 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 And the third one is mercy. Okay, mercy. Forgiveness, is forgiveness, forgiving, lenient, and mercy. Okay. And then the last one is tolerance. Okay, that's the wit. Okay, that's the way the wit share it. If you guys are in Mentor 7, if you are studying it, okay, that's the way the wit is sharing it. The way Frank shares it for the community. When I interpret for wit, I use the top one. For the way Frank share it, for the community out there, I use this, okay? Forgiving or forgiveness. I go to mercy. Then I go to tolerance. And then I wrap that under magnanimity. The way I explain the word magnanimous does not exist in the wit canon, okay? Magnanimity, great spirit, the state of being great and big. Tolerance, I put it as number 3. Remember the progression, right? A person who's forgiving takes in a lot of pain in themselves, and then over time they let it go. Lenient person takes in some pain, then they let it go. A merciful person takes in some pain, very little pain. A merciful person taking very little pain from the fault of other people, and then they let it go. A person who is very tolerant takes very, 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 very little pain, even almost no suffering from the fault of other people. That's why they are able to be very tolerant. I don't consider that to be as great as magnanimity, because tolerant, there's still, in the definition, remember the triangle of reality, in the definition of tolerance, there is the boundary. A tolerant person is a person who allow other people to be within boundary. Because there's still boundary, it is not yet as big. Okay, that's why I put it number 3, and I use magnanimity is the idea of being so big that you can hold everyone and everything. Okay, no boundary. With magnanimity, it is a state of an infinite greatness. There's no boundary. Haven't found a better word for that. So that's my sharing.
Thank you.
Tolerant, in the triangle of reality, right? Triangle of reality, I put, tolerance over here. It is a physical manifestation of magnanimity. Because, physically, there are limits, there are constraints, there's limit. But on an energetic level, you can be unconditional love. Okay, yeah. Anyway, different ways of sharing. For now, you guys are studying the wit. Go ahead and just focus on this one. As you graduate and you want to expand on your own, and you want to join me, and eventually, who knows, we may start a coaching and training company. Then we will be sharing it a little bit different. And at some point, I would like to attend the Master of Happiness study, right? And many of our teachers are masters and PhDs of the Happiness Study Academy. At some point, when we learn that, it's going to have more knowledge coming in, and our sharing is going to be a little bit different too. Okay, but in terms of the Mentor 7, just study it this way. That's a new vocabulary: forgiving, lenient, and mercy. Just and you know how to share that based on by imprinting the way Taiwan has taught us. Okay, for the purpose of your test and stuff like that. Just stick with tolerance. Okay, thank you so much once again. Very grateful. Beautiful faces.
Very grateful.
All
Thank
right.
you.
You take care,
everyone.
okay?
Yes.
See you guys
Thank
next
you,
week.
everyone. I'm very grateful as well.
Thank
right.
you. Have
Bye-bye.
a good night. Have a good day.
Goodbye, everyone.
Mhm.